Now this is a couple things I want to point out about painting. Now, as you can see here, I've got my color, some brushes in water, my label just fell off, a couple of beers, and my paint. Now, someone mentioned that a pro doesn't drink on the job. Yes, that's true. But you know what? I'm an artist, and we do whatever we want, especially when it's my house. If I was doing this for someone else, I wouldn't even take a break till it's done, because that's the way I like it. Anyway, now, this is something I want to point out. All right, suppose, and this helped me a lot, when you buy your paint, okay, what you want to do is on the top is a paint code. Doesn't matter where you buy it from, whatever. But if you happen to lose your label right here, which doesn't say anything anyway, but before you put your paint away for the season or whatever, you want to take your marker and put color fence, and when you did that, and then put your initials. Okay, so if you lose that label right there, you will know. And I'll tell you what, 6 months from now, if someone were to pick that can up, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know anything. And if you had some touch-up that had to be done, or a new paint job, or your little old lady, and you had something done in 1972, and you wanted it painted, that is the easiest way to remember. Now, as far as the paint goes, you want to open that up, grab yourself a stir stick, because you don't know how long that base has been sitting there. Stir it up real good. Put your this looks totally innocent, but this is absolutely scientifically done right here. Now I'll tell you what, watch. Your handle is exactly opposite of your paint strainer here. See? Now, if you've got to carry this bucket around, you don't need a lot of paint. You only need about a half a pound. But the thing about this is, now I screwed up, and I'll show you how I screwed up. If you'll notice this roller, there is a lot of paint on the very end. There's a lot of paint right here. That tends to slop everywhere. So when you put your roller down like that, okay, don't dip it in the bucket. Dip it on the side of the bucket, and always keep it back here. Okay? What you want to do with this up here, you never want to, okay, watch. You never want to be picking this up like this and then grabbing your roller out like this. Okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to get paint on this. And then when you get paint on this, you're going to get paint on your hands. When you get paint on your hands, it's going to be pissing you off and you can't do a good job. The way you use this, and with a half pound of paint, now watch this, is we take our thumb, right? Just like that. We come down, okay? And we lift the bucket up. And we always take from this side. We never put any paint on this side. Never. Okay? You also do not want to get any paint on this, and do not get any paint on this handle, because once the paint gets on your handle, it gets on your hands, and it's just like glue. So you're painting, you're trying to do a good job, and your hands are like glue. And remember, you're only going to do it once. So this is A100. We're going to use it for the fence. It's cheaper stuff here. And a lot of these paints, they won't have somebody put a dot of color on them or anything. It doesn't really matter. Okay, what you want to do is this. If you're gonna tip your paint over, tip your paint out, you want to clean it up immediately. Okay, you should take your brush, clean it all up, then put your lid back on. But before you put this back in your shed or wherever you put it, okay, you don't want to put it on the side, you want to put it right on the top. You put fence, your initials, and I don't know, 10, 13, 0, 10, whatever it is. 10, 13, 10. Okay, that lets you know that it's for the fence and anybody else, that you did it in case there's a question, and what time you did do it. Because in a couple years you won't remember when you painted this fence. Now all the codes and everything are right on this little, let's see, they're right on here. And what the paint companies do is they take a white base and they mix in a whole bunch of little colors to match whatever little perfect color you want, and they do it perfect every time. But you see, if in a month from now or 6 weeks or 20 years from now, when someone else buys this house and this is sitting in the storage unit somewhere all, you know, gray and crusty and rusted and everything else, they're going to, oh, look at that fence. Yeah, that looks like the color. And a good thing to do is put a spot of color there if you want to too. But it really helps for identification, because if you just have a can somewhere, and how many of you have cans of paint that are just sitting somewhere and you don't know what they're for? That's why before you put your paint away, you want to mark it, whatever it was. House paint, you can put house. For the light, you can put trim for the purple. Or whatever, you know, door paint, whatever boat paint, doesn't matter. But in 20 years, someone can read that. And then the other golden rule is this. Paint has water as a liquid solvent in it. The water evaporates and the paint sticks to the surface. Water does freeze. When water freezes, just like it always does, because you leave it in an unheated garage like we all have, then what the water does is it breaks down the molecular consistency of the paint, and you'll open that up and you'll find a bunch of syrup on the top and a bunch of this gook on the bottom, half rubber, half plastic. And then you stick your nose down in there and you smell it, and I'll tell you what, you'll smell the nastiest, sourest smell you've never smelled anything like it. Nothing like it. It's worse than anything. So now we're starting on the fence. As you can see, we have a light. It's one shade lighter in the book than the house. We're going one shade for the fence, next shade darker for the body, next shade darker for the trim, and next shade darker for the purple front doors. So that's my tip for the day. And like the paintbrushes, I've been using those for a number of days. Okay, you can either clean them up every time, because that one's about 40 bucks. That one's about $22. But instead of leaving them, you can clean them up every day if you're real picky about it. Me, in the hot summer, I don't do that. But at the end of the time, as long as you keep the paint water soluble, okay, then it's not going to dry. That's just common physics they teach in high school nowadays that no one gets. So, now you see the white fence, and as we continue, and like the guy said, yes, a pro does not drink. I'll tell you what, if a guy charged me 75 bucks or 50 bucks an hour and came by and was drinking beer, I'd say go to hell. But if it's my own house, then I am the head artiste and I make the decisions. Okay. Alright, this is the next day with this fix that I want to show you. Now, this is clear caulk. Remember that I put caulk up all around here. Okay? Hear that? That's caulk. It's clear. Now the caulk right here, it's got a skin on it, but it's still drying, and that will eventually dry to totally clear. So that's how clear caulk works. But the best thing is you should put in small layers at a time. Especially you shouldn't do it real close to winter like idiot me. Now right here I want to show you something. I put in clear caulk right through here last night. Now you see how it's only slightly white. That's because the skin is healed over it and it's still curing out. And when that cures, that'll be completely see-through. I just want to show you what clear caulk looks like. Mostly we use white because clear is only used for specialty stuff. Okay. Here's another thing I wanted to show you about painting. Now, this window frame right here was all mask off with yellow tape. That's normal. But there are dangers in that. Now I pulled this tape after about, oh, I'd say 2 weeks. Alright? It's no big deal, but I left it on there for a reason. After the paint dries into the top layer, the bottom adhesive. Now before I was so rudely interrupted, isn't that a nice cat? God, you're just so stupid. Aren't you? $300, you can have one too. Anyway, this is what I want to show you. This is a lesson you learn in the summer. When you go to tape, say aluminum or glass, okay, and you leave the tape on too long, what happens is the adhesive will sink itself into the aluminum. Remember, aluminum is like skin. Okay, it has many, many pores in it. Even this glass has pores in it. And what happens is, if you leave it on just overnight, matter of fact, what will happen is the adhesives will stick to the metal or the window. And you are trying to save money and make this job under time, you're going to spend 2 hours with a oops cleaner, which is tooling, and you're going to, and a scraper, trying to get this crap off, okay? And then it's middle of summer, so tooling has a real nasty habit of evaporating very quick, along with giving you a really great big headache, unless of course you like that kind of thing. Now, let me show you what tape does over here. These are things that a professional painter does, that I've left these on here for a reason. Now this paper has been up against this paint job for 2 weeks. This is what tape, white tape, does to concrete. You can see this underneath, all right? Now this will come off, no problem. Now I got to scrape this off. Okay? Now if you look over here, when I go to pull this off, one thing you have to remember, okay, this is the base tape that was on here. This is fused to the concrete. It's also fused to the paint. So you have to take a cutter and a 45-degree angle, just like a caulk gun, your cutting knife, cut all the way down there, and then you have to pull this off. Now you'll notice how it's only coming off in strips. Okay, so my nice little job that was supposed to take me half a day is now going to take me 2 hours longer. When you get done with the paint job, or you get done with the side of a house, all right, I gotta fix that. But if you get done with the side of a house, then the paint starts to tack up to where it's not dry, but it's rubbery like, but it's still wet enough to where when you pull your plastic or your tape off, that it's not going to pull the rest of the paint with it. That's when you want to pull it, because if you leave your tape too long on the concrete, and especially this is a real bad area, okay, you do not want to put white tape. You can use white tape on your concrete. Do not use it where you're going to be stepping on it, okay? Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to sink that adhesive in there, and it's going to come off in little teeny strips, about a millimeter at a time, and it'll drive you absolutely crazy. So that's why I left this on here. Now I've got to peel this off. I've got to take a scraper, and I'll have to take this part off right here, and it's going to take me a lot of time. But this is why painters do not leave masking on overnight. And if you're doing an inside glass project where you have to, say this is all glass, this is where we use the blue tape. Say this is all glass in here. You're not doing the frame, you're doing the glass. That's where we use the blue tape, here to here, because you may have to leave it overnight. But the blue tape will come off. Blue tape will not give you a good edge. That's why we always use white tape. It's because of the edge. Now you've learned your tips for the day. I gotta get back to painting lilac.